Moving on. First question of the day. All right, here's a good one. I want to serve the Lord in something, but I don't know what to do. Where is a good place to start serving?
If let me preface this with I don't know if you're going to our church, but there's plenty of places that you can serve in our church. I'm just going to tell you what I did. So when I felt like God wanted me to start serving, I just looked for opportunities at my church. And so the first opportunity that came up was they were going to do a cleanup at the church. And so I just went out and pulled weeds for Jesus.
Was this down in California?
Yeah, this is down in California. And so there was that. And then the next thing that ended up taking place was they asked for ushers, and I figured I could pass around a bag as well as anybody else could. And so I went and volunteered for that. And then my next thing was I got involved in Sunday school. And I was, teaching the little kids. In fact, I got a friend. Actually, it's the wife of a really good friend of mine, and I did Sunday school with her. And so I got a friend out of that that's lasted for like 50 years now. And so that was kind of awesome. And I just looked around for needs at the church specifically, and when those needs would come up, I would pray about it, pray about whether or not God wanted me to be involved in that, in those things, and then I went out and did it. The other things that I did, and that's at church, okay? And so the other things that I did was we had a home Bible study, and one of the things that we decided to do, and it was like 4 guys in this home Bible study, and one of the things that we decided to do was just kind of reach out, and so we went to an old folks home. And we would, one of the guys would do a Bible study, and I would lead worship. That was one of the things that we did. One of the really fruitful things that I did there was we went around to different people and just talk with them and stuff. And there was a lady who was older, who's, she was just kind of there on her own. She didn't get a lot of visits from her family or anything. And so she was almost blind, and I would go in and read the Bible to her. And so that was really fruitful. And then the other thing...
I've never heard that story from you.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, 20 years,
yeah,
you surprise me with a new one.
Here we go. Another thing that I did was I was told early on as a Christian that the people at my work were my ministry. And so... that was another one of those things that I did. I worked in construction, and so the guys on my crew were my ministry. And so I would be praying for them, and I would look for opportunities to talk to them about the Lord, and just to minister to them. And a number of guys got saved over the years because of that. And so, when you look at something that God wants you to do, obviously we're all called to witness to people. And so that would be the first place. I said that last, but you need to know that all the way through my early walk with God, and obviously ongoing as I've gotten older in the Lord, all the way through, I was sharing the gospel with people when I got an opportunity. And so that would be the first thing that I would be looking at. God, who do you want me to talk to? And you open up the doors, I'm going to go through them. Like that. And then all these other places that God would have you serve. And then finally, God let me know that I was going to teach, and he opened up opportunities for that, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, so would you unpack the idea of being in God's will, and if he wants you to do children's ministry, he tells you, and then you go in it, versus I don't know what to do, I'm a brand new believer, I think maybe God wants me to try this, and just going and doing it. You know how that works, especially when you're new and you're trying to hear God's voice and you're not sure.
Yeah, you're not going to do anything wrong by going and doing it. It's like one of the things I like about young believers is that they're always doing something, even if it's making mistakes, and they're doing something. And so again, when I when I got involved in children's ministry, it wasn't something that I continued to do because I felt like God wanted me to be involved in different things. I had to start prioritizing where I was going to serve at church. And so I went and I did it, and I was faithful to the commitment that I had made, and then I moved on. Later on, I ended up being an assistant pastor, and I was the Sunday school administrator, and so I actually ran a Sunday school. But you know, when you're looking at the things that God wants you to do, basically when I was a younger Christian, I just went, Jesus, you know, I want to do something, and so what do you think of this? And then I'd step out on it, and there were things that I did that I wasn't doing well, and I could tell that somebody else needed to be in my place, and so I stepped out of that. So I was a new convert counselor, for example, and I didn't have the time to devote to it, and so I wasn't doing it well. And so again, I fulfilled my commitment at that point, and then I stepped out of that, and you know, because God's going to have somebody that's going to get in there and really go after it. Obviously, as I got older in the Lord, my commitments to different things became more important, you know, because I'm looking at what I'm going to do long term, and I just really wanted to serve God in those places. So I spent more time praying about it as I got older, and especially after I got into things and they didn't work out the way that it was never, you know, like some kind of awful thing. It was just like, oh, okay, I'm not really great at this, you know. And if God wanted me here, I'd probably be pretty good at it. And it was that kind of stuff.
I think too, like just doing faithful with little. God brings, and I know your story, but I never in a million years thought I would be doing full-time ministry. But it just started, like you said, well, I guess I can usher. And for me, it was like a security thing coming from my world. It's like, I could do that. And then you do a little bit, God opens the next thing and then the next thing.
Yep.
And then pretty soon it's like,
God wants to use you, and when you're faithful, He's going to be pointing you in the direction you need to go.
Yeah, awesome.
He's going to get you there.